Yo, what is up, everybody? We are out here at the park again. I am in the very corner because there's a ton of homeless people up here, but that's all good. So today we're going to be talking about why money will not make you attractive. So I think you guys know the typical, the stereotypical situation where there's a old, rich, unattractive fat guy, right? And he's with a I don't know if I'd say supermodel, if you want to call them that, I guess, or whatever, a beautiful younger lady. And I want to talk about why this happens. Basically, she's looking for someone who will support her lifestyle, right? Because she can't always find someone who is going to be attractive and that rich, right? So the reason why this happens is because if there is such a guy, he is probably with someone who's younger than her and more attractive, because typically these ladies, they're not exactly the most attractive, right? And a lot of them even have work done. That's also why they're with this older, richer, fatter man, because they need someone to get all their work done, the plastic surgery. They use unnatural means. There's some dog crap right there. They use unnatural means to look younger, right? But all it ends up doing is making you look plastic, basically, right? So they do this, but I guess if you want to talk about, for a good example of this is, like, I don't know if you guys have seen, you probably have, but if you've seen Jeff Bezos's wife, oh, look at chemtrails. Yay, chemtrails. Anyways, if you guys have seen Jeff Bezos, I think this is a pretty good example. So Jeff Bezos is like one of the richest men in the world, right? I think technically, isn't Elon? I don't know. I don't really care, but they're all like pretty rich, right? But they're rich with money, which doesn't exist, right? So, and this is why I think they don't get rewarded with an attractive partner. Or if they do, the attractive partner doesn't love them, which, for example, even if you look at Jeff Bezos, he's one of the most influential, richest men in the whole world. He owns Amazon. It's a pretty big company. But even his wife, I mean, pretty much looks like a, looks fake, right? She looks fake. So I don't think I really need to go too much into detail about that, but you guys have seen them together. And if you look even at movie stars, for example, that are older now too, you have like a lot of the popular ones, a lot of the people that they are like women that the men are with, or vice versa, they're typically looks matching as well too. So that's, I guess, kind of another topic that we can talk about here is looks matching. Usually that happens no matter how rich you are, because naturally speaking, people typically understand their value whether they want to or not. Subconsciously, deep down, they actually do understand that value, and they understand what they can get on the marketplace, like for their sexual marketplace value, right? Like for their value based on attractiveness, right? So they do have that knowledge still, whether it's, I don't know if you want to say it's subconsciously or not, but that's why, I mean, because even in my own life, I see guys that make, you know, anywhere from, like, someone's opening a gate back there. Oh, it's a dog. And they make, you know, 100 grand, 200 grand, something like that. They're still going to, they still end up with women, at least here in America, who are relatively obese, not necessarily that attractive. And the reason why is because they themselves also aren't attractive. So because money doesn't exist, it's not going to be a factor or something that you can use to change the way the opposite sex views you, right? Like, they're still going to view you based on your physical level of attractiveness, right? Because that's basically what it is. It's like when someone is attracted to you or falls in love with you, they're falling in love with you specifically, exactly, like you. Not because they're falling in love with your car, not because they're falling in love with your giant mansion. Now, is it nice to have a big house and a good place to like raise a family and have like a good amount of money so then you can raise a family, or like have a lot of kids, have a big family, because we all know, especially nowadays, that it's quite expensive to just live in general, but to have a family as well too. So it's not that those things don't matter, but it's not going to suddenly be that someone, you know, much more attractive than you is just going to love you because you have those things. Now, there might be someone who's around your level of attractiveness and you're the best option because you have the most resources, so that makes sense. That would put you above other people in your category, or like of your caliber as far as like looks goes. But these things aren't natural, and they're not something that's going to attract the mind and brain of the opposing sex, right? Because and they say a lot of times too that men are shallow for only looking at someone based on their like a woman based on their looks. But I think that the opposite is true, that actually men are typically pretty lenient about that, whereas women are actually a lot more strict on that typically. And it's actually a good thing. I want to say that's a bad thing, because it just kind of shows you, like with the black pill, that women actually are more in tune with their instincts and their senses and things like this, right? So, but it could also just be because we're wired a little bit differently. But typically men and women both want someone to love, right? They want to have a family. They want someone who's gonna take care of them when they get older and all that type stuff, and be there for them. So we have a lot of the same, because we're both human at the end of the day, right? So it's not like just because you're a woman or a man that you view the world completely, well, maybe you might view the world completely different, but your needs, wants, and desires aren't going to be 100% completely different. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to shed a little bit of light on this topic, because especially when we're talking about the red pill community, they talk about, for example, when you get older as a man, like in your 30s to 40s, that's your prime. But the reality is because both men and women want younger partners because of fertility reasons. It just makes sense. Like, even if you're, like, say for example, like me, I'm an older guy now, and I can tell just by my drive and like wants and desires and things like that. When I was younger, I had a lot more passion and drive and things like that, because you have all your hormones, you're younger and things like this, right? So it's going to be just different. It's just a different biological state of being, basically. So, but my point is that if women can also get with younger, hotter guys, they will. So it's not just men who will do that. Now, are there some women, maybe they have daddy issues or something like that, and they do want older men? Maybe that's true, but for the majority of the population, for both men and women, they prefer someone who is younger, because the natural instinct is to have someone who's going to be more fertile and be able to produce better offspring and stuff like that. Oh, we got some little dust on here. So yeah, and back to the point about like the red pill community. So just because you have those things, because that's pretty much what we're talking about today, right? Is they say like, okay, well, if you're a guy, just grind out in your 20s and then wait until you're older to find someone, and that's when you'll have all the resources in order to take care of that special someone and have a family with. And I would say yes, in the system that we have today, that is something that you could think about, but you're not going to get a younger woman. And even if you do, and you are like rich enough to do that, even if you are able to do that, is she really going to love you over the 21-year-old like tanned guy on the beach with his shirt off, right? And he's muscular and whatever, or tall, and I mean, I guess tanned and like muscular is not necessarily that important, but basically he has better jaw structure, he's younger than you, all that type stuff, right? She's not gonna pick you over them. And if she is young enough, there's probably a chance that she will basically never love you. So yeah, I think that's like a huge cope. And I wish that men who got to that state, they would actually speak out against that, because that's the problem with these types of things. When you get advice like in these situations, is they only really manifest, after like 10-20 years of someone like following it and then realizing, wait, like that was a lie. And that's kind of like what happened with what's been happening with like women too when they get older, and like the whole feminism movement. So which that's another topic, we can talk about that separately, but we're pretty much at the 10-minute mark here now. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, I appreciate it if you guys gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more philosophical type videos where we're just gonna rant here at the park. Probably gonna try to go to other places too, because I keep going to just like this corner and like people keep staring at me and there's like homeless people everywhere. So appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the sun out today on a beautiful Sunday.